This is already going poorly. It's locked up. It's just locked up. Look at it. Shh. Hi, everybody. Welcome to Lure Painting Live with Krista from Colorado Custom Lures. I hope you all are having a wonderful night, and I hope that you enjoy what we're about to do. So before we get started, I want you to please subscribe to my channel, turn on notifications, and like my video if you would. It really helps people find my videos. It helps me out a lot, and I would so greatly appreciate you guys for that. All right, so we're going to do a 5XD crankbait in black crappie tonight. And shoot me some comments, questions, whatever you like. I cannot see my comments for some reason. Let me see. They changed the format on me while I was briefly gone, so I can't see the comments. Let me see if this is the button. Nope. Well, darn. I might have to edit this out when I get that far. I can't even see you guys' comments. There used to be a comment screen over here, but there's nothing. So, I don't know. Okay, well, we'll go ahead and get started. If anything, I missed the comments, go ahead and post a comment in the comment section after the show, and I'll be sure to answer whatever questions you guys have. All right, so I usually just cut these open with an X-Acto knife very carefully so I don't stab myself. And then I go ahead and open them up. Hopefully you guys can hear me. All right, and then we're going to take this out, and then I will grab my I should have had these in front of me. Grab my split ring pliers, and I'll take these hooks off. And once I get the hooks off, you won't be able to see me right now. I'm going to go ahead and tip you down so you can see what I'm doing here. Okay, so I'll just take my hooks off. These are from Texas Tackle, these split ring pliers, and they are available all over. You can buy them from just about any tackle supply place, and they are the best. Universally, most people think these are the best, and they're not that expensive. So if you want to be able to not use your fingernails or whatever it is that you use to take the split rings off of your lures, I highly recommend those. Go ahead and plop those back in there, and then I'll usually take a little piece of tape, and I'll just tape this shut so that the hooks don't fall out. Okay, and then I'll hang it up somewhere so I don't lose it. All right. Next things, you're just going to take the eyes off of these. Most of the XDs, the eyes are just glued on. So you can just peel them off. If you want to, you can save them. If you don't want to, then you're more than welcome to just toss them. I save mine, but I don't usually reuse them. If you don't have fingernails, you can use an X-Acto blade to pop these off, or whatever you have that has a sharp edge. So let me grab this. Make sure you peel that holographic portion off if you didn't get it. And then we'll tape this lip off real quick here. So I always make sure that I go around. Some people just tape across. I like to make sure I tape the corners too. So we'll go ahead and tape the lip here. We'll rip a little bit off. I'll tear this lengthwise, like zip. And then I'll tape the corners too, so that it's all nice and lined up. so you don't have, I think if I get a little too close to the camera, this doesn't show up that well. There we go. And then we'll tape the other side. So it just covers up the spots that they originally did not have painted on this. All right. So now we have a blank slate here. So the first thing I'm going to do when I'm painting a brand new branded lure that's already been painted, that hasn't been that doesn't have just a blank slate, it already has a clear coat on it. I'm going to go ahead and grab just a red 3M scratch pad, and I'm just going to kind of rough it up to give it a little bit of a rough surface for the paint to stick to. So make sure you get all the nooks and crannies. This is probably the worst part. Honestly, I do really, really dislike the prep work, but there are worse things like sanding. Resin swim baits can be horrible sometimes, but anyway, this isn't too bad. So we'll go ahead and get this all scoured up. And I kind of just going around the eyelet here too, getting every little spot. Now, when you buy these Strike King lures, it doesn't really matter what color you buy, but it does, I would recommend trying to avoid the ones with glitter. Like the Sexy Shad, I believe, has glitter because it leaves a rough texture on the surface, and it makes it a little bit just less smooth or whatever. When you paint over it, you can't really get rid of all of it unless you strip your baits, and it's just way too time consuming to strip every bait. It wouldn't be practical. So, all right, go ahead and clean this off with a little bit of isopropyl alcohol, and then let that kind of just dry off while you're doing this. Okay, now I'm going to put on some gloves here, because from here on out, I don't really want to touch it with my fingers, because you don't want to get any oils from your hands on the bait. It'll make it, the paint not adhere as well as it would otherwise. So we've got our gloves on. Now, the first thing we're going to do is put a base coat on and a primer. So we'll start with the primer. I use Badger's Stynol Res primer. And this stuff you can get on Badger's website. Sorry, I have some baits that I just clear coated that are hanging on the wall, and I just bumped them, which is not good. So I'm making sure they don't touch each other. These are beauties. So anyway, I'm going to shake this up just a little bit, and I'm just going to pour a tiny bit into my airbrush. We're just going to do one bait, so I don't need a ton. So we'll go ahead and spray this with a nice light coat primer. So I just replaced the valve plunger on this airbrush like half an hour ago. And I kind of disintegrated the O-ring on that. So I wasn't sure how it was going to spray, and it's kind of chugging along. So let me just go ahead and hang this up for just a second while I grab my hair dryer, which I should have had ready. But I'm like a little out of practice with these shows because honestly, I kind of stepped away from these for a little while because I had a lot going on. But let me grab my hair dryer. So your hair dryer is your best friend when you're using a water-based paint like Createx, so that you can speed up your drying between coats. If you're just doing one bait, it's kind of tedious to wait every time you need to change paint or do another coat. So I'll grab my bait here off the wall, and I'll just give it a quick dry with my hair dryer. And then I'll just kind of make sure I have a good coat here by just spraying a little more on there. Okay, so this isn't really our base coat. We're just making sure that we get good adhesion. It improves the adhesion a little bit, actually a lot bit. So I really encourage you to use it if you want your paint to stick well. Okay. Okay, so we got that all dried up. So we can set that down on our clean paper towel. And then we'll move on to a white base coat. So this is just opaque white Createx, just regular opaque white Createx. And I'm going to go ahead and clean out my brush of the existing paint. I think I need to turn my air up here is the problem. Ah, there we go. Sometimes I turn my air down on my airbrush and I forget that I did it. And then I realize that's why my brush is not really spraying very well. So we'll go ahead and dump that out. Then we'll add some white. So just a little bit, and then a little bit. This is 4013 Reducer by Createx. Do a little stir. I use disposable paintbrush. Works really well for stirring paint in your little cup. So let's make sure this is spraying okay. Get any like extra water out of the brush before I start spraying on my bait because I don't want it to smear. Okay, now I'm going to give it a little dry here so that I can set that first coat up. So we're just going over the bait. Yeah, I'm sorry I don't have a comments section for some reason right now. It doesn't want to help me with that. All right. Sometimes as I step away from videos for like a few weeks, they change the formats of these, and I just don't even know that it's changed. So I'll figure out why I don't have a comment section, and I'll fix that for the next show. I didn't have that turned all the way up to hot, so this is taking a little while. All right, so last coat here. Make sure we get a nice good heat set here, and then all right. So I've got it nice and well coated. You can't see any of that previous pattern. The top side of it isn't quite as important because you're not going to be able to see that part of the bait. I'm going to turn my air down just a little bit. It's kind of crazy. Kind of like a fire hose right now. Okay, so we'll clean our white out of our brush. You don't have to do a fabulous job when you're going from white to black, but you know, you want to get most of it out. So a little quick rinse with some water in a spray bottle, or however you do it. And then maybe a little stir to scrape anything out of the bottom. Spray that through and call it good. All right, we're going to do some black now. And then we are going to net our bait. Actually, let's net our bait first. Yeah, I'm going to change my mind on this one. So we'll net our bait first. There's a couple different ways that you can do it, but I have a small a small bait here, so I don't want to get too crazy with the extra detail. We'll just keep it simple. When you're doing realism, it's much easier to do realism on a larger palette when you have like a swim bait or something big. On a crankbait, you can't get too crazy because you just don't have that much space to work with. You can, if you have the time to spend and it's a hobby for you and you just want to keep trying new things, by all means, you can give it a try. But it's much harder when you have a smaller lure than if you have a larger bait to work with. So I'm going to grab a clamp here and I'm going to clamp. I'll show you what I'm doing here. I'm going to clamp this together so that this mesh stays in place. And we're going to do some colors. So first we'll start out with some black. We're going to do some dots. And I'm going to use a stencil that I use a lot, which is this is the modeled stencil from Anarchy Models, and or splotchy. I'm sorry, this one is splotchy. This is the medium splotchy. It's kind of dirty, so the splotches are smaller than they normally would be, which is okay in this case. So I'm just going to set this down and I'm going to do like some dots. You don't necessarily have to get every single dot on the stencil on your bait. You can kind of pick and choose and just make it a little bit messy and disorganized. We're spraying through the mesh so that it kind of has a little bit of an uneven texture to it. Every time you do this with your needle, it gets angry. All right. So and I'll try to post the links to everything I'm using in the comments or in the description, section of this video, so that if you want to get the colors I'm using, or you want to know the airbrush I'm using, I will post that in the comments section, or in the description, I'm sorry. And if you hit the subscribe button and turn on your notifications, the next time I post a video, I'm going to be doing a lot of quick tips on YouTube, quick tips for airbrushing crankbaits and airbrushing in general here soon. So if you want to be sure that you are notified that I'm doing videos like that, then make sure you turn on your notifications, give me a follow, and there'll be lots of free learning coming your way. So thanks so much. All right. Now I'm just kind of scattering some smaller dots in with the bigger dots here. And so you can kind of see that we're doing just kind of a random pattern here. And you can go kind of heavy on it. It's up to you how dark you want it to be, as far as like how much, getting a little tip dry, hang on. So it's up to you how many spots you want it to have and how dark you want it to be. But we're going to go a little heavy tonight and just see how it looks. I'm going to try and get like kind of even up by the nose, which is really hard when you have it wrapped this way, because when you're up by a thick lip like that, it's going to pull away from the bait a little bit. That netting will pull away from the bait a little bit. Okay, so we've got a little bit of a mixture of tiny spots and big spots. This side looks pretty good, so let's go ahead and move on over to side 2. So for side 2, we're going to do the same exact thing. We're just going to start with a bigger stencil. And this is the medium size splotchy stencil from Anarchy Models. So you don't have to get these perfect. Again, this mesh is going to make it look uneven by design, and that's kind of what you're going for. So don't worry too much about perfection. nature is perfectly imperfect. And likely you are your own worst critic. Let's grab the small one and we'll add some tiny texture dots all over. So as you can see, this is pretty time consuming. But if you want to do it right, you got to do it right. You got to put the time in. You got to make sure that and the more times you do it, the faster you get to. So, all right. Now, I'm done with the black for now. So I'm going to go ahead and load up a little bit of green, or a little bit of, I'm sorry. Yeah, I should have put gold down first. Kind of made that mistake. So we'll probably skip the gold because I messed that up. So we'll just put some moss green on and we'll keep this really simple. So this is moss green. Moss green is, it's a really dirty bottle, but moss green is a wicked detail color. And you can't see any of that label, so I don't even know why I showed you that. But again, I'll post a link to purchase that in the description if you're interested in where to purchase that. All right. So now we're going to spray a little bit of green on the high side here. Okay, you don't want to spray too much at once because it will be this stuff is kind of transparent. So it'll get kind of runny. If you're too heavy on it, it'll just kind of run everywhere. So we're going to try our best to not make that happen. All right, so you can do a little heat set through that mesh and then just keep going until you get the level of color that you want. And you can't see that very well through the mesh, but just to show you the progress. I'm so used to working with solvent paints that this is like really hard to remember how thick I can put this stuff on without it running. Okay, so I think we're good on the green. So I'm just going to heat set this real quick. Okay, so that looks pretty good. Now I'm just going to take a little bit of pearl white and I'm going to back blend the belly just a little bit. I don't normally do this way, but I'm going to give it a shot and see how it looks. So when you clean a black out, you have to make sure that you get a really good clean. All right, so we'll clean this out, and then let's grab some. I'll grab some pearl white here real quick, and then we'll just do a little bit on the belly. So this is a little bit dried up in the tip here, so I'll just poke that up. Okay, a little bit of reducer. Now I don't want to stir this with the same brush I used to stir my black because it will turn the white black. So I'm just going to use a different brush that I have, stir that up, and then we'll just do a little spray on the low sides here. So this is just a little pearl white along the bottom of the bait. So I'm just going right along the low side right there. And then I'll do the other side. Okay, so let's give that a quick dry and see how it turns out. All right, now I'm going to go ahead and pull this off and see where we're at. All right, so we have lots of, let's see if I can get that in focus. Doesn't like to focus sometimes when I'm that close, but there we go. Maybe. Okay, so maybe from a little distance it'll be better. You can't see the green very well, but you can see all of the spots, which look pretty good. So we're gonna go ahead and put some pearl white on the belly. And then we're gonna go ahead and do some black on the top. So I'm gonna go ahead and spray a little more green on the very top here to get it a little bit darker. And then dry that up, and then we'll switch to black here. And like I said, you could definitely go heavier on the black spots if you want, but they're nice and random here, which is exactly how you want them to look. All right. So you don't need to do a great job cleaning this out because you're switching to black. Just try to get as much water out as you can, and then switch to your black. Okay, now what we're going to do here is we're just going to go along the spine and darken that up. You don't want to put too much paint down at once, again, because it will start to run if you've listened to my videos before. And now I'm going to go around the eye a little bit and then the nose and just darken that up a little bit. Our black crappies have a pretty dark face. All right. Okay, so there you have it. You're going to pop a gold eye in this. And if you want to, you can add a fin as well. It's totally up to you. If you do add a fin, you can just cut, a fin shape out of like a little piece of cardstock and then just trace around the inside edges of it and you'll have a nice fin. It's hard to get a close-up of this without it blurring. So there we have it. A very simple black crappie crankbait. I hope you guys found this video useful. Again, please subscribe if you'd like to see more videos, and I suppose I could say hi again. So please subscribe if you want to see more videos and quick tips, and turn on notifications for so you're aware that there's more videos coming. And then also, if you want to see my latest work, you can follow me on Instagram. There is a link in the description to my profile. And you can also find me at Colorado Custom Lures on Facebook and Instagram. So I hope you all have a great night. Thanks again for watching, and good night.
you done?
I hate this computer with passion.